Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Greetings of happiness. My name is Barkavi and I am your host for this evening. Today, I have a very special formula to present in front of you, and it's a secret formula for happiness. You have got only 20 seconds to absorb that formula. Are we all ready to see the formula? How many of you are ready to see the secret formula for happiness? Great. Let's begin now. It's only 20 seconds. May I please ask how many of y'all were able to absorb this formula? Please raise your hands. Anybody? Okay. Let's keep it simple. How many of you are familiar with this face? I'm sure all of you are. Smiley face, emojis. Today, technology has taken over so much, I'm sure we are all aware of emojis. For a change, instead of me being the only person welcoming all of you, let us welcome each other with a warm smile. So please turn towards your neighbor and greet each other with a warm smile. Welcome again. Thank you very much. Over the past years, in my career in human resources, within a multinational firm, I have made one lesson deep rooted within me, and that is to create an environment which is very positive, filled with happiness for people to come and work for, look forward to come to work for that day. How did I accomplish this? I was introduced to Raj Yoga Center since childhood. And the first thing that I noticed, I understood, was that happiness is a continuous journey. There has been few things that I observed, and it has been the foundation for me to understand the pathway to happiness. When I entered Raj Yoga Center, I was at the age of 10. I remembered seeing people from different backgrounds, different cultures, interacting with each other like a family. That inspired me a lot. And the environment over there, the peaceful environment, this gave me the inner feeling that happiness begins with atmosphere. The first thing I understood as a child in Raj Yoga Center was that happiness begins with atmosphere. That was lesson one for me. Confidence. Whether we are children or adult, one thing that I really noticed and till date appreciate the fact that it gave me immense strength to realize the qualities within me, identify my potential when I was a child. And that's how, through meditation, I built confidence. And ultimately, it gave me a sense of independence. When you are independent, there's no burden within us. We feel light, we feel free, and definitely there is happiness. Determination. Practicing meditation every day, starting my day with meditation, gave me a clear thinking, not overthinking, but clear thinking. And that's how my journey, my pathway to happiness started. Sometimes I am asked, where do you get your happiness? When I come to the office, people ask, where do you get the energy from? So I always tell them I begin my day with meditation, and that gives me the energy throughout the day. And definitely it has given a biggest biggest change in my life. So, whatever is blocking your happiness, try to remove it. Understand the humor and magical moment of the present. So, it gives me immense pleasure to invite our chief speaker for tonight, Sister Jayanti, onto the stage, and the chief guest for this evening, Colonel Mohammed Murad. Let us welcome them onto the stage with a warm applause. We would like to acknowledge their presence with a small token of appreciation. I would also like to acknowledge Dada Vasa Shurov, a long-term patron for RYC, with a bouquet. Please give a warm applause to Dada Vasa Shurov. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce Sister Jyoti. For 41 years, Sister Jyoti has been tirelessly enriching and empowering mankind as a teacher of Raj Yoga meditation. She currently serves as a director of Raj Yoga Center in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, and has initiated meditation centers in Oman, Kingdom of Qatar. She began her services in UK before traveling to India, the US, and to Canada, where she played a key role in supporting individuals from all walks of life. She's based in UAE since 1983. She has a heart for spiritual development of seekers of meditation and firmly believes that by regular and constant attention to spiritual lifestyle, an individual will be able to gain mastery over obstacles that one faces in life. Sister Jyoti is a powerful motivator, skilled administrator, and an able speaker. Now, I welcome Sister Jyoti to commemorate the event with a warm applause.
Om Shanti. Good evening to all my brothers and sisters, and very warm welcome to all of you. Today we are here to understand pathways to the one of most discussed subject, happiness. I'm glad you choose to be here on this weekday, investing in your own self. I call it an investment because with the present lifestyle, we are unable to give quality time to the self. The experience and feelings of peace, love, and happiness, the three important things in life, is decreasing. Today's event aims at sharing the practical tips to maintain the state of happiness in our day-to-day life. We might face many challenges to do this, but we believe that the state of happiness is original and natural to us. This state can be experienced even while facing adversities. Rajoga Center has chosen this topic today also in support of the Charter of UAE governments on happiness and positivity. We have amongst us a very good friend and supporter, Colonel Mohammed Murad. I extend a warm welcome to him. It has been a journey of almost 10 years of knowing Brother Murad. We always admired his clear focus, the ability to motivate everyone, and I can feel this concern for humanity. I warm welcome to Sister Jayanti. She has been tirelessly traveling across UAE and Oman in the last few days, and she will be traveling to India straight after this event to meet hundreds and thousands of aspirants of wisdom like us. She has traveled the whole year across the world, sharing her wisdom and experience. We are fortunate to have her here, to have her second time this year. She was in Dubai as a speaker for the International Yoga Day. I feel she is the right person to speak on the topic as I know her from more than 40 years. I'm sure you will all benefit from today's event where two lovely human beings are sharing their wisdom with us. I also extend hearty welcome to Dada Vasusraf. You are always there whenever a good task is happening. I once again welcome you all, and I am sure you will be happy by the end of this session. Thank you. Om Shanti.
Thank you, Sister Jyoti, for the warm welcome. Now, to give an insight of our chief guest for this evening, Mohammed Murad of Dubai, United Arab Emirates, is an entrepreneur and manages a group of companies. After a 20-year career with Dubai Police, he retired as Lieutenant Colonel in 2003. He has more than 29 years of experience in key positions in emergency medical services management, human resource development, and strategic planning, all in the government of Dubai. Mohammed has experience in the fields of event management, management consultancy, fashion and beauty, and he has recently founded a fitness convention which is taking place in Dubai World Trade Center in the month of November. He is a past international president of Toastmasters International. He served in the role from 2014 till 2015 and is now on the advisory committee of past presidents. Mohammed has extensive experience in quality systems, coaching and leadership, development with multinational workforce in the private sector. He is an entrepreneur, a consultant, and a skilled trainer. He holds 2 master's degree, an MBA and a master's in quality management, both from University of Wollongong, Australia. Now, Sister Jayanti will present a memento for Mohammed Murad. Let us welcome Mr. Mohammed Murad for his address.
Sister Jayanti, Sister Jyoti, Sir Bashu Shraf, Sir Baksani, and dear guests. If I was to ask each and every one of you, what's your understanding of happiness? And if you take a few seconds just to think of what actually happiness is to you. And with that, I'd like to modify the question a bit. What is happiness to you living in the UAE? I hear a few laughs here and there, and I know what you're thinking of. I'll modify the question a bit more. What was happiness for you when you were in India or in Lebanon or in any part of the world that you are from? And the reason for me to ask these questions is I'm sure that you have had a shift in thinking when the question about happiness has changed. And that only signifies that happiness is not something that is static. Happiness is not something that you could call a way of life. Because if it was so, then your view of happiness and your understanding of happiness wouldn't have changed. But the fact that even if it changes just for a little bit, it means that happiness is certainly a goal and not a lifestyle that we will enjoy. Lifestyles are there to be modified for us to come towards goals. And if this understanding changes in us, it will change the way we live in Dubai. It will change the way we live in Bombay. It will change the way that we live in New York. We were just talking about how life is in Dubai with Sister Jayanti inside. And the understanding is that life is so fast in Dubai, in the UAE, that you hardly have any chance in thinking about anything else other than making a living. And if that's the case, then the goal is blurred in the horizon. And I within my career, and you have heard that I have different walks of life in my career, from fashion to police to consultancy to training. And all of this was, for me at least, about where am I happy? Which path should I take in order for me to find the happiness? And at the end, I find out that it's not the path that you take. is the goal that you have, what will make a difference in your lives going towards happiness. I'd like to share a small story with you. There was a very wealthy man. He had a son, and he wanted to teach his son how poor people lived. He needed to understand that there are people who are poor and have a different living standard and a living lifestyle. So he took him to a small village, remote village, where they spent 2 to 3 days. And before that, he had advised his son, you need to observe things and see what is the difference. End of the 3 days, they go back to their palace where they lived, and the father sat with his son and he said, what do you see the differences? He said, I saw that we live in a prison of security, of walls, while they do not need any walls to live by. He said, I saw them sleeping peacefully while we slept thinking about what problems we will have by tomorrow. He said, we live for making the extra amount of money that we want to do in business, and they are satisfied with what they have, knowing that they will get what they are destined to get without being worried about. And this is what I want you to understand, is that happiness is within. Happiness is not outside. We have come to this country, and we go after making a living. We go after making sure that we have the different new things that are coming up. iPhone 7, Samsung S7, Edge comes in, and so on. Not understanding that these do not make any difference. And I'm no different, by the way. Probably 3 or 2/3 of my whole life, I was under the understanding that, you know locals, right? You need to get a fancy car, and you need to get a fancy pen and watch, and so on. And I still do that, by the way. But I do it for a different purpose. Because before, I used to do it to show off. Now I do it because I need to feel satisfied. I need to feel happy. See the shift? It's looking inside. It's looking at what makes you happy, not what makes others happy. We have a ministry of happiness here in the UAE. And I'm sure you have heard about it, right? And this drives you to think of why there should be a ministry of happiness in a country that is successful, has got all the resources that they need to have to make a good living for their citizens, for the people who live in this country. Why has there been created a ministry of happiness? Any answers? The answer is very simple, is that there is a need for happiness, and we have lacked it. I had visited Mount Abu a few years ago, and there was this revelation of how people think. Why is the Brahma Kumari so powerful that it changes perspectives? It makes you understand that things will come as long as you are content. Greed is nowhere that needs to be found in ourselves. Show off, nowhere to be found in ourselves. Contentment, definitely. And contentment is one of the things that I believe is very important in achieving happiness. You need to be satisfied with what you have. I was in the traffic today, coming here. And I could have been angry, cursed the one in front of me, shouted at the one beside me who wants to come into my lane. But that wouldn't have changed anything, would it? I would have arrived here exactly the same time as I would have if I had a different mindset. So in the end, it's very simple for me, and it has taken me quite a few years to understand that it needs to be within. You need to be satisfied. And that transcends. And this is what Sister Jayanti, Dadi Janki had been teaching us all these years, is that once it's inside, it will come out. Now the question is, what is inside? Because if it's happiness, it will come to you when I meet you. But if it's hatred, it's also coming out to you when I meet you. So it's your decision. You can be happy or otherwise. Your decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohammed Murad, for the wonderful speech. One thing I have always observed in him, a man with such great accomplishment, still with humility in nature. When we are happy, the attitude automatically changes, and the person becomes very humble by nature. Thank you again, and some of the insights that I learned from his page was happiness is not a way of life, but a goal. And it's within, not outside. And I also want to learn more about the Ministry of Happiness. And when I did the research, they also mentioned on the website that instead of saying customer service call center, they want to rename it in a positive way, like happy customers. So that's a very wonderful approach towards call center, because usually when people call the banks or any organization for any requirement, the first thing they'll put you on hold, or it keeps on going, and then there's a lot of frustration. Of course, because call center is 24/7 working, and even the employees are quite in stress these days. So just to motivate them and bring that positive energy, they want to so call it as Happy Customer Service Department. So that was really, really wonderful initiative of the UAE ministry. Thank you. And now, Sister Jayanti, our chief speaker for this evening. She's the director for Europe and Middle East of Brahma Kumari's World Spiritual University, and their NGO representative to the United Nations, Geneva. As an emissary for peace, Sister Jayanti has a vision and experience that is truly global and deeply spiritual. Perhaps this is because, among other factors, she is a child of two cultures. She was born in Pune, India in 1949 and migrated to England in the 1950s. From the age of 8, she grew up and studied in Britain and experienced the way of life during that era and its cultural influence. She studies spiritual path since her age of 19. Now, her role within the university is extremely broad. She is currently the Director of International Coordinating Office of the Brahmakumaris in London at Global Cooperation House, of the Global Retreat Centre in Oxfordshire, and of PK centers in over 31 countries in the Europe and Middle East. Sister Jayanti's day-to-day work includes teaching and providing spiritual guidance. She is also keenly sought after public speaker and broadcaster, and her travels take her around the globe. She has a unique ability to impart the deeper spiritual truths with utmost clarity. Her prominent lecture themes include health, education, racial harmony, women empowerment, sustainability, international peace, and spiritual values. She was the head of Brahmakumari's delegation and speaker at the UN Climate Change Conference in 2009, Copenhagen, 2010, Mexico, 2011, South Africa, and 2015, Paris, France, in 2012, Doha, Qatar. I now welcome Sister Jayanti to lead us onto the pathway to happiness.
Good evening and Om Shanti, a greeting of peace. Colonel Murad, Sister Jyoti, Dada Vasu, Dada Ram, many Dadas here, Dada Atmaram. It's wonderful to see you all again here. And my brothers and sisters. A very beautiful setting has been laid out by Colonel Murad, and so I'll just carry straight on further. It's a fact that happiness is something within and not something outside. I just came back from Muscat today, and it's a beautiful place, but there was one thing that struck my attention. There was a huge, huge hypermarket, and the amount of decoration and illumination it had was like a dozen Christmases. And I was a little bit surprised. And they told me that whole families go there just simply because they enjoy shopping there. And it was a little bit strange. This huge, huge place with so much illumination. Every inch of the walls outside, I didn't go in, but every inch of the walls outside was screaming and shouting, come, 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 buy, buy, buy. And so we live in a world which everywhere, whatever is the beauty of nature, whatever is the beauty of the people, yet the attraction at the moment seems to be shop, shop until you drop. And so that's the state of the world. And when I think about the word consumer, the image that comes to mind is a caterpillar. Consume, consume, consume. And definitely we'd rather be butterflies than caterpillars. But consumerism is related to something else, materialism. And the word matter comes into this expression. And what I've seen is that when consciousness shifts from spirit to skin, from the inner being to the skin outside, matter, this is when we forget that, in fact, all that we need and all that we're actually looking for is deep within the self, inside. Whenever they do surveys and researches about money, they have interesting things that they come up with. And two situations that I recently been reading about. One is that, yes, of course, you need money, not just to survive, but to be able to have a life of comfort and ease. But once you have your basic needs met on a comfortable level, anything beyond that actually doesn't bring any more happiness. And it's not just one country that they've researched this in. This is in many different countries, and the same results keep coming. And yes, you can be chasing, and working day and night, but it actually doesn't bring greater happiness. Yes, you need security, you need comfort, but beyond a certain level, no, it's not the key. The other thing that keeps coming up, and again, I saw it in a paper a couple of days ago. Did you think that people who suddenly win huge money, millions in a lottery, live happily ever after? Who thought that? Did you think that winning a lottery would make you happy ever after? Nobody. Okay, well, I'm glad to hear that. Well, I don't know if Dubai has a national lottery. I know in Britain we do now. We never used to, but in the last several years we've had one. And I used to think that maybe, yes, some people might be finding happiness through that. But they went through the whole list of people who'd come into big time money, not just a few millions, but like many millions. And they found that usually where there's a married couple, within a few years, the money has caused such friction that there's been a split in the relationship, which is rather sad. That here you are thinking that it's going to be the answer for everything that you ever wanted, and then you discover that it's actually creating conflict. And so I'm sure that when you hear these sorts of things, it makes you stop and think, well, where do I find happiness? You hear this expression that money can't buy you love, money can't buy you happiness, but how do I get to that point where I can feel the contentment that my brother has been talking about tonight? And it's a different concept to what we've normally worked with. And it might sound a little bit strange at first, but I'll explain. I would say that you find happiness by cleaning up whatever is inside. Were you expecting me to say that? Probably not. But what I've found is that if I can really clean up whatever's going on in my heart, if I can clean whatever's going on in my mind, and I can approach others with a clean heart and a pure mind, that connection is going to be one in which we can share happiness and we can share love. And if there are things that I'm holding of negativity within my heart, within my mind, then it's that negativity that's inside that's actually poisoning everything that I touch. And so I would like to find happiness, but I don't know how. And so the journey within, happiness is the destination, yes, surely, but it happens not by going on a journey out there, it happens by going on a journey within. And when I go on that inner journey, maybe there are a few surprises. There's two things I come across, and the first thing that I actually discover through this inner journey is something very beautiful. It seems to be a special gift for those of us who begin that inner journey, that very quickly you get in touch with that inner sense of peace. Peace comes as a gift as soon as you begin that inner journey. And as you continue with that journey, you discover the treasure of love. And you go further and you discover the truth is there within you. Yes, certain conditions need to be met to be able to discover that, but you do discover that. And then further on, you find that there's a state of joy that you had not imagined you could ever experience, and that you had never been able to find through buying and shopping and getting and acquiring and possessing. It just didn't work like that. There's a deep sense of joy that comes within. And you really feel that that's all you've ever needed in life. There's nothing else you've wanted. This is what you had been looking for. And you go a bit further, and you realize that all of these treasures begin to stay with you when you come to that discovery of purity, of innocence within. You get a glimpse of all of these qualities, and it seems to be a way that the universe, nature works, and that you discover all of these things very early on. And it seems to be the motivating factor that keeps you moving on that journey. So nature has a wonderful way in which to encourage you to keep moving in that direction. But you carry on the journey, and then you realize that there's a little bit more work that you need to do. When I started my spiritual journey, I was just flying. Literally, I was on cloud 9. And yes, I was very much in the physical world, in the sense that I decided to live in an ashram in India. And life in an ashram at that time was very simple, very basic, and very, very different to life in London. This is in the 60s. And the joy, the love, the happiness I was experiencing was something that my parents just couldn't understand. They were very surprised. And when I thought about what my life had been then and what my life was in the ashram, on an external level it was just a total contrast. But it was very, very satisfying and very rich and meaningful and filled with great contentment. I would see people come in with a frown or a little bit of sorrow, and you'd share some spiritual knowledge with them, and their faces would change. And by the time they'd leave, half an hour later, they were smiling. And so when you see that transformation happening right in front of you, it makes you feel that, yes, time is being spent in a very worthwhile way. But after about a year or so, I began to discover all the little knots and blocks and the dark spaces I was carrying within. And the rest of the time on my journey has been, yes, wonderful experiences of love and joy and insights of truth and amazing gifts, but also it's been a constant reminder that I need to keep cleaning. I need to be working on myself and sorting things out. And so you realize that there is that treasure store of happiness within, but in order to be able to continually maintain it and keep it fresh and alive, there are things that you need to do. The first thing that I'd like to mention is something that I think is useful, and whether you live at home, in a family, whether you're busy away from home, your family is living far away and you're here, but whatever your external situation may be, there's one thing that we all carry within ourselves and we forget it, and that is my own inner dignity. And if I hold on to my inner state of self-esteem, my own dignity, I know that I can be happy wherever I am. So what is it that doesn't allow me to hang on to that state of self-esteem? And of course, when I don't have that state of self-esteem, then this is where competition and conflict arise. When my brother was talking about doing things to show others and making others, I don't know whether we're making them happy or whether we're making them jealous. But so often we do things to compete with my neighbor, to compete with my siblings, to compete with my colleagues at work. And so do I have the latest in whether it's clothes or whether it's the telephones, or all of these things. If I have my own inner dignity, I don't need to compete. I am self-sufficient. I certainly don't need to get into conflict with another. But what I need to do is to see, well, what is it that's creating the discontent and the lack of inner self-esteem and the lack of dignity within? And what I've found is that if there isn't an alignment of my inner core values, the things that I truly believe are important, and the things that I'm doing in my life, if there's a mismatch that's there, then that non-alignment means that I'm not at ease with myself. I'm not comfortable. I don't have that value for myself. I lack self-esteem. And I'm not able to be content. I'm not able to maintain my inner state of happiness. And so what I have to do is to spend a little bit of time, firstly just even seeing what are the things that are most significant for me. What are the things that I truly believe in? And when I've been able to identify those things, and it doesn't have to be a list that's as long as my arm, maybe 3 or 4 things that are really, really important. And if I can then see how I can align what I'm doing in my life with the things that I do believe, I'll begin to respect myself. I'll be able to have self-esteem. I'll be able to have inner dignity. And yes, then I'm content and I'm happy, and I know that wherever I go, I carry my dignity with me, I carry my happiness with me, and I don't wait for someone else to make me happy. And that is so important. One of the big challenges in today's world, and in Europe and here also, I think is the same story. Anxiety, worry about jobs, employment, about money, about the things of the world out there. Yes, as I said, security is important. But then beyond that, no, it isn't useful. And so having understood that, then what more do I need? Yes, I need my own inner dignity. Then I'll be able to maintain my inner state of happiness. The other thing is that so often within human interaction and relationships, especially with the ones we say we love the most, we have huge, huge expectations of them. Is that right? You don't have so many expectations of those who are not so close to you, but those who are close to you, whether it's at work or whether it's at home, especially at home maybe, there's a big, big expectation that they're the ones who are going to make you happy. I wonder how far that is a reality. And not only is there the big issue of money everywhere, but the other big issue that causes a huge amount of stress is relationships. And so, given the situation that relationships are becoming more and more strained, what's going on there? And my experience of that is that when I become needy because I'm discontent within, and I'm expecting you to give me happiness, well, it's a tall order. Can I expect someone else to constantly provide me with happiness? Well, maybe another question to ask is, well, this is what I'm expecting from you, but what about your side of the story? What are you expecting from me? And probably your expectations are as high as mine. And so we come together with very high expectations, but no inner reserves, no inner resources to be able to fulfill those expectations. And so you can see how, of course, it's going to land up in a situation of struggle, if not actual conflict. And yet, if I can do what I need to do for myself and make sure that I keep my own inner state of being content and happy by doing the cleanup that I need to do within. Come to that in a minute again. And as I do that cleanup and I discover these beautiful treasures, then I have something I can share with you and actually give to you without expecting anything to come back to me in return. Is it possible? Yes, I've seen human beings who are continually giving, giving, giving. How do they manage it? They have a special secret that I'd like to share with you tonight. And you've probably thought about it and maybe had an experience of it from time to time. But maybe what you haven't done is nurture it and know how to hold on to it continually. The people who are able to be happy and are still able to keep continually giving, the secret is that they have a connection with the one above. And the one above is the source of love, of peace, of truth, of joy. And when I learn to connect with the one above, I'm able to draw on an inexhaustible supply. We speak of the divine as being the ocean, the one with unlimited love, unlimited compassion, unlimited everything. And so all that I need can come from that one. And I'm not talking about a theoretical thing. I'm talking about a very real, practical relationship that one can enjoy with the divine. It's not out of reach, and it's not a mystery. It's not something just for people who've left the world and gone away to the Himalayas. It's very much something that all of us living in the world today need. Just simply to be able to tune the mind to the being inside, away from matter, away from skin, to the inner spirit, the spiritual being that I am. And in that awareness of the spiritual identity of the self, I can connect. I can tune my mind to that frequency in which I'm able to connect with the Supreme and draw from the source the qualities that I need, especially the quality of joy, of inner happiness. And if I can do that, I can fill myself to that state where when I meet another, I don't have a story of sadness and sorrow, but there's great joy and laughter and love that can be shared. And it can be shared continually without thinking that I'm going to run out, I'm going to run dry, because it keeps flowing. It's available as much as I can take. The limit is not on how much can be taken, it's the limit is how much I can take, but it's available. And if I can have my needs fulfilled through that connection, just imagine the difference it would make in the interaction that I have with everyone around me. I come into connection with another and little bit of expectation and it's not happening. I'm expecting one thing and their comments are something else, and there's a huge sense of deflation and even pain. But the story about the Buddha, I'm sure many of you have heard this, but it's useful to remind you of it again. Sitting under the tree with a couple of his disciples, and a person comes along, and this man is discontent about something or another and very upset and angry, and he hurls abuse. And the Buddha stays calm and not getting any response. Have you ever tried that? If somebody is angry and you don't respond, usually they try raising their voice a bit more to try and get a reaction from you. But if after a certain point you're not getting any reaction, they're going to go away and try and find somebody else so that they can have the satisfaction of getting a response, because they're not getting any satisfaction from you, so they'll go away. And the man goes away, and the followers ask the Buddha, but Master, all the things you were saying were so untrue, unjust, but you didn't reply. And the Master says, I didn't need to. And again they say, but surely there should have been some response given to all the things he was saying. And the Master gives them the lesson. If somebody gives you something but you don't take it, who does it stay with? And so the one who's reached that inner state of contentment, and not just joy but bliss, anand. There's a state that's been described in the scriptures as the state of bliss which nothing can touch. Pleasure, pain, there are the opposites. Happiness and pain, sorrow, happiness and sorrow, you expect sometimes one, sometimes the other. But the state of bliss, there's no opposite to that. And that is the state that we're able to come to through the experience of love from above. And so when you come to that state of contentment and inner bliss, then you're not expecting anything from the other. And so whatever the other decides to throw at you, it doesn't touch you, it doesn't hurt you on any level whatsoever. And you're able to keep that inner state of bliss. But more than that, you're able to continue to have nothing but good wishes for them. Let me come back to this word cleaning. And what do I mean when I say that? My brother mentioned how greed is not the natural state of the human spirit. Absolutely correct. Peace and love and truth are the things that we're comfortable with. These are the natural states of the human soul. Things that we're not comfortable with, either in ourselves or in others, are things like ego, attachment, greed, anger. These are the things that create pain within the self, but also we then inflict pain on others as a result of this. And maybe we'd say that, well, it's not really greed. It's just that I want the best for my family. But the best for my family, maybe what they would be happier is if I could give them my time, if I could give them my attention, rather than the latest new tablet that's on the market. And I don't mean pills. So the latest device that's on the market. Am I able to give of myself and give my family my time and my attention? You know, sometimes we try and fob off our children, thinking that if we get them this, we'll keep them happy, we'll keep them distracted, and I don't need to give them so much of myself. Well, ask them one day, sit down with them and talk to them. What would you prefer? Would you prefer to have time with me, Or would you prefer to have the latest gadget and see what they have to say? And if they tell you, well, I'd like the latest gadget, then again, you know that there's something not quite right in the relationship. Something needs to be sorted out and repaired. But if there's something that's being communicated and something that's good within the connection, then they'll probably tell you, I'd love you to give me an hour, a couple of hours, when we can go for a walk together, when we can have a heart-to-heart conversation together. And so the reminder, let me clean up, whether it's greed, whether it's ego, whether it's attachment or anger. And the slightest traces of these still cause pain. Pain for the self and pain for others around me. And so as I learn to go through the process of cleaning the self, and the power of the love of the divine is such that one can get rid of all of these things. The power of love allows me to go through my inner transformation, in which I make the discovery of being able to hold on to my self-esteem and dignity, and also my own treasures of love and happiness. And I have plenty then to share with all around me. Even thoughts of negativity about another, never mind words, never mind any bad actions, but if you start checking what's going on in your own mind, you'll find that, yes, everything was fine, things were okay. Well, how come now at this moment things are not feeling so good? I'm not feeling so okay anymore. What happened? And if you start checking, monitoring, if we're not interested about what's going on inside and it's just life on the external level, that's different. But you're all here tonight because you understand that it's important to look at the things inside. You wouldn't be here otherwise. You wouldn't have braved the traffic and all of the things that you had to deal with to get here. So when you start looking internally, then you realize that from the moment that your thoughts became critical about another, you started having wasteful thoughts, not even bad thoughts, but just wasteful thoughts. Why is so-and-so doing this? They shouldn't be doing this. So thoughts like that, what they do is damage your own inner state of mind so that peace is lost and happiness is lost. And so my thoughts of even the slightest criticism take away my own inner joy. On the other side, if I can have a clean heart in which I have truly, genuinely, nothing but good wishes. Is it possible? Why not? If I can have good wishes for 5 individuals, for 10 individuals, why not for everyone? Then I'll say, but you know, this person's really caused me a lot of trouble. How am I supposed to have good wishes for them? Well, trouble or no trouble, if I don't have good wishes for them, I'm not allowing my own inner happiness to stay with me. Because every time they come back into my mind, every time I have to connect with them, even momentarily, it'll hit me again and my happiness will go. So if I want to stay in bondage to them, that's what it is. I choose to stay in bondage to this person or to these people, however many it may be. I hold myself away from my own state of happiness. And the moment I say, okay, never mind, I'm going to focus on their goodness, not their weakness. Yes, they said this, but that was yesterday. Today is a new day. Let me not hold it. Let me let go of that. So learning to let go, learning to forgive, learning to accept. And when I can do that, no more waste thoughts, no more negativity in my own heart. And what I'm doing is nurturing my own inner state of happiness then. And so if I want to be free from pain, free from sorrow, forgiving another is coming back to my own state of freedom. And then I can share love and happiness and just simply good wishes. I don't even have to be with them, but just simply have a pure thought, a good thought for them, and it'll be fine. They also say, it is in giving that there's great happiness. Yes, surely that's a fact. They had an experiment at a university in Texas, and what they did was give a group of students, 50 students, were each given $20 and told, go buy something that makes you happy. And they did, and they came back reporting back, yes, I was very happy doing this. Another group of students, again, same thing, $20, but this time they told the students, get something that's going to make someone else happy. Those students came back, and the happiness that they reported back was phenomenal. The others said, yes, it was happy, but the ones who actually got something for others to make them happy, they came back sharing beautiful stories of how good they felt having done that. So whatever it is I can give. Maybe I can't give money, it's okay. Maybe I can give my time to help another. Maybe I can't even give my time. Do I have a few kind words? Do I have a smile that I can give to another? Doesn't take time, doesn't cost any money. Easy. And so let me just learn to be able to give a smile even, or even lend an ear to hear somebody and their story. So giving, ask yourself, what can I give? Random acts of kindness was about that. Just being able to be kind to another, and the return of that immediately is contentment and satisfaction and greater happiness. So a few tips on how to be able to generate happiness and maintain that happiness and share that happiness. And what will happen is, it's research. Positive feelings, positive emotions allow you to have good health, allow you to have greater clarity, make better decisions, be more efficient at work, more productive, better relationships. Everything is better, better, better. And so nurture your own inner state of happiness with all the things that I've shared, but especially making time for yourself to be with the divine. What I'd like us to do for the next few minutes is spend just a little bit of time in meditation. I'm sure many of you have a practice already, and some of you maybe are trying it for the first time. Well, let your body sit comfortably, both feet on the ground so that the body is relaxed and alert. And I'll share a few thoughts and invite you to follow these ideas. I'm not sure where the sound room is, but no music, just silence, please. Sitting quietly, I reflect on the things I've been hearing about. And I realize that, yes, these are the things that make sense. But now I want to experience some of these things. I look at what's going on in my mind. many thoughts, moving in many directions. But now as I watch my thoughts, they slow down. And I choose the thought of peace. I hold peace in my mind. And as I go deeper and deeper within myself, I realize that peace is natural, very comfortable. In fact, peace is who I am. I am a being of peace. And in this awareness of peace, I can feel the presence of the divine. And my thoughts connect with the source of love, of joy. And in this connection, the waves of love reach the soul. And the love heals the wounds that I carry from the past. And the power of love allows me to let go and forgive. And the healing happens. The power of love uplifts the soul and strengthens the soul. Filled with this love, I discover joy. Discovering peace and the power of love from the divine. A joy that is deep within emerges. That which I had been looking for has come to me. And all I have to do is simply be open to receiving more and more. And the power of love and the power of joy reach my human family, giving hope to human hearts, reaching out to the world around, to all forms of life, to the elements of nature, power of love heals nature itself. I hold this awareness of happiness, of love, of truth. Come back to the moment here and now, in the physical dimension, carrying with myself these treasures.
Thank you, Sister Jayanti, for a wonderful speech and leading us to a pathway to happiness. I would like to share my personal experience with Sister Jayanti. Once I got the opportunity to travel with her to Abu Dhabi, the simplicity in her lifestyle, the calmness in her speech, and she has such a clear mind which reflects during her interaction with people. Like how I mentioned earlier, when we are happy internally and externally, definitely it would reflect through the behavior, the attitude, and automatically it will bring the innate qualities within us that anyone who will interact can feel that. And there is a positive surrounding, and hence the environment becomes very positive. Some of the points which touched myself personally: wherever I go, I should carry my happiness with me, and we should keep our inner stage always happy. So now, do you think winning a lottery will make you happy? Definitely now, I'm sure we are all enlightened about the pathway to happiness. So thank you, Sister Jayanti, again. Now, just to give you a brief introduction about Raja Yoga Center. Raja Yoga Center inspires to lead a more holistic and fulfilling life. The Raja Yoga Center aims to equip individuals from all walks of life to tap into their reservoir of positive energy. We also conduct various events. These are some of the highlights of the programs that was held in the UAE. We do conduct program for children. It's called the Enlighten Kids, where we teach value-based education to kids from the age of 6 to 11 in the most entertaining way. And there are also various other programs, meditation for busy people. If anybody would like to register yourself, you can subscribe in www.rajyogacenter.org. And also program for young adults, as well as women empowerment on various interesting practical topics. As a note of thanks, I would like to thank you and acknowledge Sister Jayanti, Colonel Mohammed Murad, for coming all the way here, spending your valuable time with us in this most memorable evening. Let us give them a warm applause. Sister Jyoti, thank you very much for being the organizer and the backbone for this event to be successful today. Dada Vasu Sharaf, as always, you have been very supportive in all our initiatives. Thank you very much. The Indian High School Committee, I would also especially would like to thank the volunteers of Raja Yoga Center here who have been the backbone to make the event very successful. And definitely, special thanks goes to all of you sitting in front of me for making my evening very happy. Because I love people, so definitely today, if I'm talking with confidence here, it's definitely all of y'all sitting in front of me. So thank you very much for coming here. As a token of appreciation, we have box of sweet and bookmarks kept outside at the reception table. There's a wonderful thoughts for meditation behind the bookmarks, which you can practice on a day-to-day basis. I do keep it on my office desk, so regularly I go through those few lovely guidelines behind those bookmarks. Have a wonderful evening, and let's all carry the mercury of happiness within us. Thank you.